Hi, how you guys doing? Happy 4th of July. I'm glad everybody decided to go ahead and tune in. And if you haven't, if you're just watching this later on after the stream, welcome. My name is Legit Lee, and today I'm going to be talking about how to use Blender to actually 3D design your own mask. I made this video a while back on, I will say a few months ago about how to make this mask here. This was Kakashi's mask, as you can see. Got Kakashi on my shirt. He's fantastic. Naruto, obviously. And so I wanted to talk about a few things about this here. That's why my stream is called Making Masks and More or something of that sort. And the reason why I want to talk to you guys here is I got commented on that video from another person that viewed it, stated that they wanted to buy the mask. And so I don't mind selling anything that I make, really, as long as I can duplicate it or something if I need it for my own personal needs. But what's happening is there is a little bit of a play for when you sell something that somebody already designed. So if I was selling these, mass producing them, I can be copyrighted. So I mean, here in America, that is very frowned upon, and pretty much everywhere is kind of like a thing now. But there is ways around it, and a lot of people will probably get upset about how I'm going to explain this, but especially in the 3D designing community. So if I'm offending anybody, I'm sorry, but I did want to explain what was going on here. So if you know anything about 3D printing or designing, you may have came across this website here called Thingiverse. Thingiverse is a free website for where you can actually download free designs from other people, and you can actually pay them if you wanted to as a little commission or whatever on the side. And so if you go to the search engine here and just type in Naruto mask, you can see right here the mask that I have that I'm wearing right now is the same one that's on here. I actually designed, they actually designed this mask, and then I printed it out, got it all painted. You can see it on the video. And so I wanted to talk about this here. So technically he owns the rights to this mask here. So I, in return, can't actually sell these masks or mass produce them and sell them. Now if I, sold one or whatever, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get in trouble. But if I decide to start printing them out on a regular basis and then selling them on like eBay or Amazon or whatever, I can wind up getting in trouble for copyrighted material, basically. And they can get lawyers involved, and there will be a whole lot of big issues. But anybody can sell anything as long as they tweak it to their niche. So what I mean by that is, say you designed the mask and your friend decides to sell it. Now you can get him on copyrighted material, but if that so-called friend actually tweaked that design any kind of way, technically that's not your design anymore. He remixed it, is what you can call it here, or just edit it to his personal usage. So technically, this mask has been redesigned by me, because in this file, if we go into it, you can actually see what it looks like. So you can print it out as a full scale here. That's what I did. And then you can do halves. So you have that ability. You can do halves if you want to. But in the file, if we actually go into Thingy View, I'm going to show you right now what I mean. Let's wait for it to load. So if you go around, if I can, there we go, tilt it. You see the inside here on the back that you don't see any tabs here to mount the faceplate. So I'm going to show you guys real quick what I mean. I actually redesigned this mask myself in Blender. And so technically this is my design now because it's not exactly how he designed it. So I can't get copyrighted on the mask that I produced because he doesn't have these tabs to mount this on here. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay. So on the mask, I have these tabs here. I don't know if you guys could see that or not. I'm trying to get it to get the shot in if I can. So yeah, there's these tabs that I put in place here on the sides, and just get it a little more in focus. Here we go. You can see it a little better. So right here, you can see that there's these slots that allows this. This is just a piece of elastic band that I got from Walmart, and so is this piece here. All this foam stuff I got from Walmart too. So basically, I remixed his design, and so I'm actually not exactly using his design. I tweaked it to my preference. So that's just like if you was to go and do art, for instance, or you design T-shirts. You can copy an image, like how I got this Kakashi shirt, and if I add something to it, like say some crazy effects or any weird little thing on it, technically it's not that same design anymore, and that's called like art something. I forget exactly the legal term for it, but it's basically where you are being an artist and you're tweaking and implementing whatever that art was. So it's actually your design now. So you can't actually fully get in trouble for that because it's not the same design, so it's not what he made or what the other person made of the t-shirt that you just tweaked, basically. So you can make stuff like this off of people's designs, which I did because this makes more sense. I mean, I can't just hold this up against my face and expect it to stay there. So I liked his design, but I had to add this right here just to make sure it works for me, so I can mount on my face. So I mean, I did this all on my own, and I use Blender to do it. So I'm gonna show you guys how you can actually use Blender to make your own designs if you want to. So for masks, for instance, right now you can get Obito's mask. That's what I'm working on right now. I'm gonna design Obito's mask and like give it out to you guys or sell it or whatever. So here you have Obito's mask. You got two different people making the mask, even a third, fourth person here, and this guy. So there's a lot of Obito masks. It's because it's simple to design. It wasn't as complex as Kakashi's. Even Kakashi's can be kind of simple depending on how you design it, but for the most part, masks aren't all that hard to make, so you can't really get too much in trouble. It's just like this guy, for instance. He, the Kakashi Anbu mask, he actually has his files up on eBay. I've seen it on eBay, same exact picture and everything, and it says that he'll 3D print it for you. All you have to do is just like paint it and get it all set up like how I did for the most part. But he isn't the original person to make that mask. Naruto, the company that designed the anime Naruto, is the people that designed this mask technically, because they actually drew up the mask. They designed it from scratch. So he can actually get in trouble for copyright material because of the fact that that isn't his design exactly. It was made off of an anime that has their own copyright laws. But he can't get in trouble now either because he made like a mask, so they never intended for that anime to have people designing 3D print masks. So he can't get in trouble either because it is that art niche that I was talking about that has that the law is actually saving him from it. So he can multiply these masks as much as he wants and never get in trouble for it through copyright law because the anime never suspected somebody to design a 3D version of the mask that they drew out on the anime. So he's not copying their anime. It's not like he went and drew up a whole entire scene from the Naruto and made a live action role playing whatever. Role playing animated film of Kakashi doing whatever. Now he may get in trouble for that. It really depends because he's designing it. There's a lot of legal terms and stuff that you have to go through to find out if you can't even get in trouble for anything like that. But I have seen a lot of people post videos on YouTube of the designs they made and like little anime shorts of different anime like Dragon Ball Z and stuff that they can't get in trouble for because they drew and made the anime themselves. So they may be copying the character, but they won't get in trouble for the anime because of the fact that it's all freehand drawing, and that's technically an art that's saving you from getting in trouble or having copyright law come after you, basically. So, to sum up, can't get in trouble for this guy's stuff because I designed my own version of his mask with these tabs here. And, I mean, obviously I put these felt in here to this, just to save your face from getting pushed up against the hard plastic. And so I can't get in trouble for what he designed, and he can't get in trouble for what he designed from Naruto, the anime from either, I think it was Viz Media is the one that originally set up the anime or something. I don't really know how the technical terms, but he can't get in trouble, I can't get in trouble. There go, no copyright stuff, and I can sell these masks if I feel like it. So that's the reason why I'm telling you guys all this is because if you decided to do something like this where you're getting a file off Thingiverse, you decide to sell it, you made it, you're mass producing it for some reason, that's completely fine as long as you make it to where it's not exactly the same as this person's. So you always have to make sure that whatever you do to a design, you have to kind of tweak to where you're not getting in trouble. And I'm not saying tweaking as just like embroidering your name into the mask like somewhere in the bottom or something, because that's not exactly tweaking. You're just naming something that doesn't actually belong to you. You actually have to physically alter whatever it is that you're using or grabbing from somebody else. It's called a remix. I've done it plenty of times. I haven't sold anything yet, but I have done it plenty of times. I have actually a Thingiverse account on here where I designed tool mounts for this guy that I have on my YouTube channel called Proper Printing. He actually made a tool mount for the CR10. So I used his information, designed my own tools so I can do quick changes. You guys can check it out on my page on the Thingiverse files. They're in there. You just have to look up my name if you're watching my videos. The Legitly is the name of the files or whatever. But that's if you're into printing. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I've done it plenty of times and never gotten in any kind of trouble. I just want to let you guys know that you can do this without actually getting in trouble. There is legal purposes for things. So since my design isn't exactly his, because I have tabs here and here to hold the elastic band to strap to your head, you can't get in trouble for this. So, in a nutshell, now we can go ahead and get into the actual video of me designing these masks here. So, you have options. You can do where you can go into the, hold on, I'm getting a message or something. Yeah, it's stupid. Anyway, you can do where you grab these guys' designs and tweak them. Now this guy has like half and a half of a mask. So you can use that if you're, because he designed his where it's half and half. So you can, go into Blender, cut out the faces, join them all together, and then at that point it's your design because he has them set up as half and half, not as a full mask. So you have a bunch of leeway and changes that you can do to even masks that are already designed, which those are quick fixes and it's really simple and fast to do, so it won't take you a long time. But I wanted to go the long route, kind of. I mean, I know my videos are kind of dragged out, guys, and I'm sorry if they take too long. I'm trying really hard to lower the time frame on it, but it's a lot of information, especially for this type of video when it has to do with legal purposes, that I have to explain to you guys so you guys can understand what's going on. So, when it comes to the designing of the mask, I wanted to go the long route because I wanted to show you guys how you can actually set up the how you actually design a mask completely from scratch. So say, for instance, there's a bunch of anime out here. Let me just double check one here. We can was it Demon Slayer, I believe, is one of the new animes that I'm really liking. Demon Slayer anime, I think it was 2019. Yeah, there it is. So there's this new anime out called Kentishu. I'm not sure how to exactly pronounce that. Kenmetsu no Yaiba. anyway, it's really good anime. I really like it. And so pretty much a lot of animes that came out over a period of time have had, different people wearing different masks for certain reasons. So you got like, all Naruto have Anbu Black Ops that have different ones for different people. And then you have like Bleach, the anime Bleach, the animated TV show where Ichigo wears a hollow mask. You have those. There's a bunch of different masks with anime, especially now. There's a lot more coming out. So if I put in images here, I'm pretty sure we can find somebody wearing a mask. So if I just type in mask, let's see what they put. So here, you got this guy. This is in the anime. This is like a dead student, I guess you want to call it that, from this person here. His name, I forget, I can't remember at the top of my head, but he actually is a student of this guy right here, and this was his previous student that actually died. He wears this mask on his face, and it kind of looks like Kakashi's a little bit, but not exactly, because you can kind of see that the ears are spreaded out a little bit. He got these hollowed eyes, and the mouth is like a downward instead of like this curvular shape here. So they're not exactly the same, but they're kind of designed the same. You know where I'm trying to get at here. So you can actually grab a mask like this and then, put it on Blender, get it all set up, and design it. So that's what we're going to start doing here, so you can kind of see where I'm going with. So first we're going to do Obitos. So you can grab any file you want or a picture. It'll be pretty much the same. And if you're worried about like size of everything, so say like, okay, you can design the mask, but you're not sure how it's supposed to fit your face, because obviously you're designing in 3D space and you may not know the measurements of your head or whatever. So people use masks kind of like how they do motorcycle helmets. So you have a small helmet for a person that has a smaller head, medium helmet for a person that has a medium head, and then a larger helmet that for a person that has a larger head, right? So when it comes to that, you can make them specific, so where it only fits your head for the most part. Mine is, if you go back, let me just see. For this here, his design was for a medium-sized head, I believe, is what he said. Kakashi Anbu, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this helmet is sized for an adult male. So the adult male is kind of medium, I guess, because depending on your head size, I would say that's a medium. Adult male is pretty much a medium. Like a small size would be for a kid, and then like an overweight or something, I don't know how they would pronounce that, but basically this is medium size for a person of my size, I guess. So like my size head. I don't have a huge head, but whoever gets whatever file, they can tweak that design too to scale it to make it bigger for them in Blender too. So there's a lot of technical stuff. So if we wanted to, we can download this file. We can use his measurements of a head and then create Obito's mask here. So it kind of would work out for you, because using somebody's measurements, because this fits perfectly on my head without any issues. I have a medium-sized head. You can measure your head out too. There's different ways to do it. You have measuring tapes that have like that's foldable, that have like a film or something that you can't, it won't be like super thick, not made out of metal. It'll be like a strip instead, like a piece of tape, thin plastic. Or you can use calipers. I use calipers a lot for pretty much everything I design. So if I put it like on my head here or something, do something weird like this, I'm at 129 millimeters, almost 130 for my forehead here. And then if we do my chin to like my eyebrow here, I'm at 153. And then from my eyebrow to the top of my head, we add that, I'm at 82, I would say. So you can do it that way, where you're kind of measuring out your head with a caliper or any measuring tool that you would have. You can use those to measure out your face that will be able to incorporate the mask. And you can scale it out a little bit so it won't be too flush exactly with your face. I mean, obviously, we needed it to be a little bigger if you're putting in foam to keep it away from your face. So you have to kind of incorporate all that information so you know exactly what you're trying to do here. You don't want it to be on your face so hard, because a lot of this plastic can kind of hurt over a period of time, or when you're printing it out, for instance, you're going to have to print with support. So some of the support structures inside the print will still be up inside the print head part, like inside the face. So inside of the mask on this end, you would have support structures, and those support structures you can break off and even kind of like melt with like a heat gun and stuff, but some of them are really fine. So you'll still see some like residual little spikes coming out basically from the actual support structure that you broke off. So those spikes can be meshed up against your face, and now your face is getting spiked and compressed with spikes, so you can wind up hurting or causing, injury or something. I mean, not something super terrible, but obviously nobody wants to have spikes on their face. So you kind of have to incorporate that information too. So I feel like the best route would be to like download one of these, and then we can just model the framework of his design, and then work from there basically. So we would just hit download. It will just do 7-zip is what I use. I'm sorry, it's not showing you guys. Here we go. So 7-zip, hit OK. So it's gonna get through here in a minute. Fully download. Okay, it's done. And where did 7-zip go? I don't know where it went. It's fully downloaded. Open. Alright, well, that didn't work. So let's just do 7-zip, open archive. And then we can go into files. See, this is part 1. Hold on, let me move over. This is part 1 and part 2. That's the halves. So if we go over here, see, this is what I was saying. You can tip the designer, give him like, commission, whatever, for designing the part. But so you see here, this is part 1 and this is part 2. So if you see on, hold on, let me just grab it really quick. Where are you? Good. Okay. So if you see part 1 and part 2 here, that's those two parts on the file, but we're doing the full exact all covered print here, so the full part all together, not separate from each other. So we just hit this one, hit extract. I'm just gonna place it in, I don't know, desktop for now or something. There we go. So now if we exit out of all these and I just minimize this, right here you see it's on my desktop. So if we bring this up, you can see it. This is just Cura, but I just want to show you guys that it's that simple to grab it. That's an STL file which you can import into Blender, and then you're all good to go for the most part. So you can see here, this is a Crowd CR10. This is exactly how I printed it out on my printer, CR10, and so it printed out fine. I do 0.12 layer heights because that's my best overall quality for the prints. So you guys can kind of see, if I can move this over so you guys can see how it's designed here. So you can see on his file, like I was mentioning, he doesn't have any of those support structures here for the band that I made. So so now you can see the file. Let's go ahead and bring up Blender. I'm gonna go into Blender here, get this pulled up. Let me just double check, because I know that I'm like full mode here, so you guys can't see everything, so I have to just scale this image down here so you guys can see it. I'm just gonna go to like right here, and so now we're in Blender, and so if we go and just click out where you, this is like the beginning part of Blender, and we're gonna get set up completely from scratch like I always do. So first I'm gonna run my script. So I'm gonna go to text editor, open, and we're gonna go to downloads because I think that's where I kept it at. Yep. And here goes screencast keys. We're gonna run this script here so you guys can see what's going on. I'm gonna go to 3D view. So if I hit N on my keyboard, we go down to start display for screencast keys. That's what I just did for that script that I'm running. And now you can see, it's hard to see because my screen is 4K, so it's kind of hard to see the little icon. I wish I could make this bigger, but I don't know how to do that. If you guys know, comment below, let me know. But if you see, it's hard to see, but if I click, you can see that that little icon goes white, and if I right click, you can see that the other side, the right click button, is highlighted. And then if I, hit any buttons like Shift C to get my cursor back to the center of the print or design, it will do the Shift C, and you can see that. So you guys can follow along for everything I'm doing with this information. That's why I'm pulling it up here. So first thing we're going to want to do is go to our basically like world view information. So we're going to do units, and it's going to be in millimeters because every printer on the planet at the very moment that I know of is using millimeters for printing. So they only use millimeter measurements. And so now that we did that, you obviously seen from regular Blender units to millimeter units that our print size grid line is like way abstract and you can't see anything, right? So it's looking crazy. So if you go to what was it? Displays, I believe. Display, where are you? I feel like it's there. It goes right here. Display. You can change. You have to scale down. This is grid floor information, and this helps so you can understand where your print size or design is at. So we are at 0.001 on the metric side of things. So we just have to input that information, 0.001, and enter. Now we can see our grid. And that's because our grid wasn't viewable because our Blender information here was not as predicted on here because of the fact that everything at first was Blender unit, so we had to incorporate the correct information. So this lets you set up everything for millimeters, but it wasn't originally set that way, so you have to set it manually the first time. Now you can go to File, save the user information, your startup file, basically, but I'm not going to do that. I like doing this so if I ever had to go back, I don't have to like reload, default, and all this other crazy stuff. So I just do it manually. It doesn't take long. So now that we have that, we're going to go into orthographic mode. And what that is where you can actually design things like if you're designing something off of a blueprint or a design schematic for like anything you design, basically for housing structures, like if you're building a home from scratch, or 3D animation designs where you're designing a character and all kind of stuff. So it's better to be in orthographic mode for those type of designs. How you get there is by pressing 5 on the number pad. So now the information shifted. So now you can see you're in orthographic mode, and it even shows the meters. We're at 0.001. Now this is Blender 2.79B. This isn't the 2.8. I know everybody's been getting it. I do have it. I haven't wanted to use it yet because I want to fully understand Blender as best I can first before I try jumping into the new Blender. Now, that being said, right now our print size here is 1 millimeter for each individual box. So if you see these squares in here on your grid line, those are exactly 1 millimeter apart, which is great because, and if you're designing something, you can always check to make sure that they're a millimeter or 2, 4, whatever millimeters you're designing at. So each of these boxes here are going to be 1 millimeter apart. So if you wanted to, say, design where you're designing in the print space of your printer, so say you have a CR10, which is like 300 millimeters squared, or a Ender 3, like I have both of those, which is about 240, I believe, squared for the millimeters. You can actually change the lines on your grid line here. All you have to do is just change it here. So if you do have a Ender 3, it will be 240, so you type 240, and there, it just moved your lines to the outer perimeters of what your 3D print space is. So you can actually see this box here is only 2 millimeters in size for everywhere on the axes. So I just want to get that information out there for you guys. I explain it a lot over and over again, but depending on if you ever watched any of those videos, I do it often so that way you guys, if you're not interested in the other videos, you still know where I'm going at so you don't get lost. Because, I mean, 3D designing a mask is different from 3D designing a car or mecham wheels or whatever I'm designing for like tech-based stuff. So this is more of anime, prop design, or fan art, or what you call it, the cosplaying, all that stuff. So a lot of people may want to see just only this video, so that's why I'm explaining all this. So if you guys looked at my other videos, I appreciate it. You guys are great. Love you guys commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff. It helps me out a lot. It makes me want to do this more. So I appreciate it. Anyway, so now that we have our grid line set up, if you're in, this is front mode. I'm sorry, I should have been explaining this. Front mode orthographic. So if you hit 1 on the number pad, you have to make sure your number pad is engaged. If you hit 1 on the number pad, you're in front mode. If you hit 3, you're on the right side of the design. If you hit 7, you're at the top. And then if you hit Control 1, you're on the back side. Control 3 is going to be the left side, and Control 7 will be the bottom side. So you have those you can use to actually view in 3D space of what you're trying to view. So if you have to look at a different angle or something, you have those to use. So say if you're designing the part and you need to move your design, say 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters in any direction. Right now your grid line is set up for 1 millimeter, so you're good. But if you're just grabbing and pulling up, it's not going to be exactly where it needs to be at. So you're not actually, I mean, even if you get as close as you possibly can on the box, you may not exactly be in that area. So I'm going to show you. You can zoom in here. I'm going to hit wireframe mode, and we're just going to zoom up and then zoom in more, and you may not be on that dead line. Now, I did it perfectly. That was a little amazing, but normally you don't do that. So I'm going to undo this move by hitting Control Z a few times. We're going to zoom out. Oh, and another thing, if you zoom in, this actually breaks down that 1 millimeter even smaller. So now the boxes became 1, I guess, 1/10 of a millimeter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, 1/20th of a millimeter. So that's pretty good, because that gives you even finer movements. But if you zoom out where you're not seeing those blocks and you're only needing to see the 1 millimeter blocks, if you need to move up exactly 1 millimeter to get to this level surface, because right now in 3D space, if we go back to perspective, I guess. Hold on. No. Orthographic. Where is my grid line at? I don't know. That's weird. I don't know where my grid line went. It should be displaying it. Okay. That's a little odd. I don't know what happened there. This, I mean, it shows there, but usually when you move, you can actually see it. Anyway, so yes, if you're in front orthographic mode, all you have to do is zoom out a little bit, hit Control, and then grab the axes that you're trying to move it on and pull it up. It'll lock into place, and there you go. You just moved up 1 millimeter for the block. So still puzzled about why my grid is gone right now. I really could use it. So let me see, display subdivisions. I don't think I did anything odd. Object mode. That's a little strange. That's not a good sign here. I don't know how I'm supposed to get that up, because I didn't take it off or anything. I mean, you guys seen what I was doing, right? I didn't remove it. Maybe it's, yeah, there should be 1.1. Yeah, I mean, I showed you everything. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, we could just move on. Let's just press on here. So if we go to background images, we can add a reference image, and that's what we're trying to do. So we're going to delete our cube here. So we'll hit X, hit yes, and then we have nothing. So literally we're in nothing space. Oh, there it goes. Wow, that's really all the way out here. Go closer, closer, closer. There we go. I was wondering what was going on. Okay, so what the heck is going on here? Control C. I don't know why these are all the way over here. Let me just restart my Blender here. New. Load, reload, startup file. There we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna get this going one last time here. That was odd. I don't remember doing anything to this, but you know, whatever the case may be. Let's go to text editor really quick. I'm gonna do this fast. I'm not gonna explain anything. I'm just gonna, I know you guys are probably dragged out here, and if you are watching, I appreciate it. I know you guys are obviously being real patient here. But like I said, a lot of information, need to cover it all. So let's see, go down, screen display. We are going to do our Blender units at millimeters. Yeah, there we go. And display, where are you? I always have trouble finding that little tab, man. I don't know why. Alright, 0.001, done. And we're going to do 240. Well, actually, we're probably going to have to do... if you're 3D printing this, you're probably going to do 300 millimeters because of the fact that you're going to wind up having to print it on something bigger. I mean, the 3D... I'm pretty sure the Ender 3 can't actually use or print out this big of a mass. You would have to do it separately. So this is for people that have bigger printers. I'm sorry if that is the case, but it is what it is, right? So orthographic mode. All right, now delete the cube. Done. Go here, zoom in a little bit, and then we're going to do our background images here. Add an image. We'll hit open. I think I have it in downloads. Obito mask. Not Blender. Maybe it's in pictures. I think it's in pictures. Obito. Where are you, Obito? Naruto knife. Nope. Obito. Here we go. So there we go. So now we have the reference image, right? And it's dead center. It's looking pretty centered. Maybe a little bit over to the left would be a little better. But either way, we're going to have to scale this because if you think about it, this is like, what, 5-10 millimeters of a picture? We need something a whole lot bigger. So that's what I was talking about earlier is we're going to use that 3D design file that I got from that Thingiverse. So we'll get to importing the information. So we need STL, and we're going to go to desktop because that's where we saved it at. There we go, Kakashi. And there you have it. So you see how big it is compared to that one file. So if we drag this over a little bit, that is how big our design is compared to that small picture that we have right here. So this picture is on every axis. So if we go anywhere, it'll be right there where you can see it. You probably can't see it with that, but it's right there in the center here. And so now we have this design on here, but we're not going to use it exactly. We're going to go to 3. We need to rotate this so we can see. So if we do R to rotate, we're going to do 90 degrees. Oops, my mistake. Opposite.